Okay, let's do this. Last year, I created a video recapping my whole year and talking about the highs and the lows, the roses and the thorns. It was so therapeutic for me to be able to process, integrate, and create art out of everything that happened. I feel like we go so much of our lives kind of just doing our thing without ever taking a moment to connect the dots. And reflecting on 2023, I feel like there was 3 themes that kept coming up again and again: gradual growth, true connections, and trusting my intuition. I guess where I left you guys off last year was my dad had just come out of hospital after one of the most chaotic, intense months of my life. And so I really leaned on the people in my life that I love and trusted the most.
I can't help you.
Literally,
You're too heavy.
Admit that I'm the funny one.
This is something I did not share last time because it was quite fresh, but at the time, me and my ex were reconnecting and trying to figure out if we could make things work. I had to listen to my gut, which told me that it was not right. And it was so annoying. I feel like no one talks about how listening to your gut is actually so frustrating. And at the time, it feels almost wrong.
The year has begun and we are still...
Depresto as an espresso.
Nothing changed. Nothing. Okay. It will be okay, George, I promise you.
So I trusted my gut and said goodbye to someone I love with all my heart and went to New Zealand with my best friend. We literally spent a week and a half just traveling, journaling, pouring our little hearts out to each other. We journaled so much, setting intentions and goals about what we wanted to achieve and how we wanted 2023 to feel like. Honestly, I feel like looking back, we both manifested so much in that week.
Ginge, say hi to Joy.
February came around and my childhood cat Ginger, who I've literally grown up with since I was 6 years old, was not doing so well. It became quite clear that he was really suffering and we had to discuss putting him down. At first I was in full denial, and then I realized that actually that's probably the best gift we could give him. I'm like crying talking about it now because he really was like a companion I had my whole life, and it was so hard, but we had to say goodbye. After Ginger passed, I decided that I wanted to go to London. I needed to get out of the small town that I grew up. I needed change. I needed a fresh start. So I booked my ticket, and with that I decided to fuel all my energy into my work, creating a pop-up with one of my closest, bestest, most amazing friend, Jala, and found the process of collaborating with someone I love so healing. March came around and the self-doubt and insecurity just creeped in. I was working on my podcast that I was planning to release in April, and every time I would record an episode or listen back to it, I just felt like a failure. Like I felt embarrassed of everything. I guess I've never been one of those creatives that just feels confident about their work. I mean, I don't know if any creatives truly are, but thankfully my rose was the people around me that kept supporting me and listening to me and my doubts and my insecurities, and then just encouraged me to keep going and reflected back to me that they are good and it's a work in progress and I'm not meant to be the best at it straight away, and that they will love me no matter what. And I feel like that really just gave me the push to put my podcast out. The support and the release that I felt from releasing that first episode was just so good. And even though I was feeling so good, The lingering feeling of get me the fuck out of Byron felt strong. And so I went to Japan with my girlfriends and literally had the most healing quality time. These girls are like my day ones. They know me. Sometimes I feel like better than I know myself. I mean, the four of us are adults now, but when we're together, it just feels like there's no judgment and we can just have fun and play and be literally as silly as we were when we were 10. It's weird how when we're in these high moments of like everything is so good and you feel so grateful, the little fear of losing it all or things going wrong starts creeping in. The whole time I was with them, I just kept feeling so sad that I was leaving them and didn't know when I would get to see them again. Even though I was so excited about leaving Byron, suddenly the fear of the future and the anxiety of going so far away from family and going to a huge city where I know no one started feeling really strong. I'd never booked a one-way trip before, and there was moments where I just was like, why did I do this? What am I doing? Who do I think I am? I think to truly grow, we often need to put ourselves outside of our comfort zone, and as soon as I got to London, I just knew I had made the right decision. July in London was a dream. It just felt like I could romanticize every moment. However, I started my acting course that I had been planning to do, and after 2 days, I knew that it just wasn't right. I was meant to do 3 months, and as I started the course, I realized that it wasn't exactly the course that I had envisioned and wanted to do. It felt so wrong to change it, but once again, listening to my gut, I knew that it just wasn't it. So I decided to change my 3-month course to a 1-month intensive instead. Stepping into August, I started that course, and once again, my gut had steered me in the right direction. The people in my course were just so sweet and inspiring, and we all became like a little family so fast. I had started dating in the city and met this wonderful guy that just, I don't know, made me feel like I was living my 23 single in a city fantasy. It just all felt like a dream until suddenly it was the end of the acting course. The guy turned out not to be the guy and my little heart was broken. But thankfully September rolled around and I could escape to Europe for a little bit of beach healing and recovery. And even though I was so happy and grateful, it got to the end of September and I felt so socially burnt out. I think I'd realized that I am such a little introvert, and from the moment I left Byron, I had been so social. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to go back to London for another 3 months, and the stress of trying to find a place to live whilst traveling was just starting to weigh me down. But thankfully the universe pulled through, and when I was on the train to Milan, I booked a sublet for the next 3 months in London. I got to London in October, moved into my new sublet, and it was perfect. It was everything I wanted. The best location, natural light, beautiful room. But as soon as I settled in, the state of the world really hit me all at once. It was hard not to feel weighed down by the pain and suffering of humanity. Many of you guys know I was born in Israel. Most of my family are from Israel. I felt like I had so much processing to do, so much to learn. It felt so much bigger than me and bigger than all of us, and to be honest, October was the first time this year where I felt very alone, and everything that I was feeling suddenly felt so insignificant and unimportant to what other people are dealing with and going through. So after a month of really feeling quite isolated, I started trying to imbue all of my content with more meaning and purpose, trying to give people something to make them feel seen, understood, and less alone. I did a journal challenge. I started sketching in my journal, sharing things that help me when I feel anxious or not okay. And as soon as I felt like I was starting to find a bit of stability again, I found out that I had to leave my sublet a month early. Once again, I was in the anxiety of trying to find a place to live and starting to think, should I just go back to Australia? But my gut once again was saying no. And so I somehow, thankfully, found a room and decided to stay in London. I really fell in love with the city and all of the moments and experiences I had there over the past 6 months. But after a week or so, my gut was telling me, okay, Joy, now it's time to go home. So I booked a flight on Christmas Day, and 24 hours later, like a portal, I went from the peak of winter in London to the peak of summer in Byron Bay. Being reunited with my family literally felt like the biggest gift ever. I surprised so many of my friends because I didn't tell them I was coming back, and my heart just felt so safe and happy and grateful.
Hi. I was like, I knew you were home! I knew it! Oh. You're home! Oh. I knew you were home! I was thinking in the car when I was driving down, I literally was like, she's not in Tunbridge Wells.
It's crazy because it's not like at the end of each month I felt like, wow, I've really grown. But looking back over the past year, there was so many firsts, and there was so many moments that challenged me into letting go of old patterns, stepping into new ways of thinking, new ways of being, new ways of seeing. And so the theme of gradual growth throughout the year is really, I don't know, easy to see now that I can look over the year in roses and thorns. It's crazy to see how many friends I've made, and it's not just friends, but like people that I truly love, people that truly accept me for me and I know I can call when I need. And the fact that they're all sprinkled around the world is hard because sometimes I wish they could all be in one place at once, but it also means that even though the world is big, it feels a lot more safe when you know you have those people you love somewhat close by to you no matter where you go. And in so many ways that I won't even get into detail, every time I trusted my gut and my intuition, it turned out to be right. Even if I felt like I wasn't sure in the moment, or I looked back at it and was like, what did I do? Why did I choose that? We get to December and I can say every time I trusted my gut, it steered me exactly where I need to go. And so stepping into 2024, I hope I keep growing. I hope I keep nourishing and creating new connections that make me feel seen and supported and loved. And most of all, I hope that I keep trusting my intuition, because guys, I have no idea where life is taking me, and some days I feel lost and confused and I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I am turning 24 next year, 24. But I know that if I take it one step at a time and listen to that little thing inside of me that tells me where to go, and not shush it up and not tell it it's being stupid or irrational, but really just listen to it and trust it, I'm gonna go where I need to be. Thank you guys for being along on this journey with me, giving me a space to express myself, to share my life with you all, to process, to integrate, to grow, to learn. I love you with all my heart, and I hope that you guys all have a happy and sad and hard and rewarding and exciting and creative new year. Love you.
Life is chaos.